everybody, it's OneVidGlade here, and today I'm bringing you some new ways to have Pokemon battles. And this doesn't mean that Origin Battle Strategies won't be uploaded today. Today I'm going to give you some nice 2 videos. And if you are just learning how to have new Pokemon battles and you don't care about that series, I'm probably really annoying you, so I'll stop now, because I know it's really annoying when a lot of YouTubers do that. So anyway, let's get into some new ways to have Pokemon battles. The first way is a free-for-all. This will require 4 players. Now, if you're creative, you might find a way to get it with more or less players, but in the way I'm going to show you, you're going to be doing 4 players. And also, if you find a new way to do something that I come up with, feel free to do it. You don't have to do it exactly how I tell you. You can just, if you think of something creative, tell me in the comment section, and maybe it will even be better than my ideas. Anyway, so first of all, get into a battle. Now, I have player 1, 2, and 3 have actual competitive Pokemon, and player 4 just sit there with a Magikarp. Now, whatever you do, don't attack player 4's Magikarp. So let's say you knock out player 4's Magikarp, and then player 3 loses the multi-battle. Then we'll just say player 1 and player 2 won. Even though, since it's like free-for-alls, where you gotta be like the last man standing pretty much, so you're not. Because Talonflame and Aegislash, well, player 1 and player 2, they're not actually on each other's team. Like, the game thinks they're on the same team, though. So we'll say player 1 and player 2 won, but they're not actually... But they didn't actually win because they're supposed to battle each other to determine which one won. Another way you could do it is have player 4 actually participate in the battle, but let's say player 1 and player 2 loses. It won't let you continue the battle. It will just say player 3 and player 4 won. Now, I could think of one little loophole, which is after that, just have player 3 and player 4 get into a single battle. But then you get your HP fully restored, knocked out Pokemon aren't knocked out anymore. No. I think it's best to do the Magikarp way, but if player 4 really wants to play, he can actually play. Anyway, yeah. And also another thing is that if player 1 is pretty much the last man, is like on his last Pokemon, and player 2 is already defeated, player 3 and player 4 won't want to attack him, because then they won't be able to continue the battle, so they won't want to attack him, and then he'll have an advantage, because player 1 can attack whoever he wants to without having to worry about being attacked, so yeah. Anyway, the next way is Mystery Dungeon. You'll see why it's called that, because you are the Pokemon in this. It's a really bad name, but I had trouble thinking of anything because it's just tell me in the comment sections if you can find a better name. You'll probably will. Anyway, this can be played with 3, 6, or 12 players. Anyway, the first way to play, which is 3 players, is have each player choose 2 Pokemon. Preferably have each player choose 2 Pokemon of the same type, and then just have player 2 choose 2, or, well, it doesn't have to be player 2, but have one player choose 2 Mega Evolutions, and just have him be in charge of Mega Evolutions, and you'll find out why you should do 2 Pokemon of the same type for every player. Anyway, you could just have each player choose a Pokemon, but then when you go onto the battle spot, which is the next step, your opponent will know exactly what Pokemon you're bringing in. 2, you won't have as much options for your opponent's team. So anyway, look at your opponent's team in the team preview, and I could not find any images of an actual team preview, so yeah, this is what you have. And anyway, just decide on your lead and what Pokemon each player is entering, and like the reason you don't want to like have like 2 different types is that it's like, oh, I want to bring Greninja, I want to bring Mega Gyarados, and it's like, you need to get rid of your Mega Gyarados, you need to get rid of your Greninja. If I get rid of my Greninja, we won't do very well against my opponent's team. Well, if I get rid of my Mega Gyarados, we won't have a Mega Evolution. You don't want that. You just want it to be like simple Fire, Grass, Water, or whatever 3 types you're using. You usually can't be very bad, and then just one player will just choose which Mega Evolution they're bringing. Anyway, so let's say in the battle, player 2, let's say it's player 1's DS, and player we're using player 2's Pokemon. Right now, player 2 is borrowing the DS since we're using player 2's Pokemon. And let's say we're battling that Slacking we saw in that team preview, and then the opponent decides to switch out because fighting meets normal. Then player 2 decides, like many other players would, to go into Greninja, a water type, beats a fire type. Now player 2 has to hand the DS over to player 3, and then just it'll keep going like that. Now, this isn't like engraved as part of the rules, but you could like make it like whoever knocks out the last Pokemon wins, or like whoever knocks out the last Pokemon gets to choose the lead, or I don't know. You can just be creative. Anyway, there are two ways to do it with 6 players. One is the same whole. Oh wow! I was going to show this image to say you'll remember that Greninja is player 3. So yeah, that's what this image was for. Anyway, there's another way to do it with 6 players. One of which is to the same. Each of the 3 players chooses 2 Pokemon. But then each of the other 3 players also choose 2 Pokemon, and then you have a 3-on-3 battle. Another way is to have each of the 6 players choose 1 Pokemon, and then look on the PSS for battles. I'm assuming you can guess what 12 players is. Each of the 6 players chooses 1 Pokemon. The same thing happens with the other 6 players, and then you have a battle with each other. So yeah, and another nice thing about this method is, depending on what you're doing, it either requires 1 DS or 2 DSs. So if you have a pal who like doesn't own a copy of Pokemon X and Y, they can just borrow some of your competitive pokes and just start playing Pokemon. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these new ways to have a Pokemon battle. I hope you have some battles on these formats, and maybe you can ask me like in the comment section to get a battle set up in these formats. Anyway, guys, this is One for the Glade, signing out. Stay awesome, and goodbye.